So good mechanics for your body in the garden will make your gardening experience so much more enjoyable and give you a really strong, healthy body, not only from what you're eating, but also how you're using your body to grow it. So I really think about my movements all the time when I'm in my body, even down to just the basics of remembering to breathe when I'm working. So back to the forking that we did, or that I demonstrated, when I'm forking or when I'm in the garden, I'm always making sure that my knees are slightly bent and that my hips are relaxed and my shoulders are over my hips, over my knees, and that my belly is just lightly engaged. So there's awareness throughout my whole body when I'm in the garden. And when you're doing something like forking, again, your knees are soft and you're using your weight to put the tool into the ground rather than just your muscles. So it's not a push, but it's a sinking feeling of your whole body. And then I use my whole body to pull back instead of just using my upper arms. And then again, I can put my whole body into this motion. And then when I pick up anything heavy, I'm not just using my isolated body to pick it up, I'm actually picking it up with my whole body. So you're thinking about the integration of your whole body, so that way you're not emphasizing or overutilizing one muscle group, which is how you're going to cause an injury. The other thing that I do is I never do any task in the garden, like the same task over and over again. If I'm doing a lot of forking or a lot of digging, I try to mix it up so that I'm doing no task more than about 20 minutes at a time. So it's good for our minds too, because it keeps them engaged and active and interested in the activity. But then it also helps the body to make sure that even with the repetitive motion, that you don't lose that awareness and then cause injury. So if I were forking a bed, as I mentioned, I might fork a large section of it, and then I would shift the body mechanics to doing something else, like maybe weeding the bed. And so how do we weed the bed? Well, by all means, you can certainly bend over, but you never want to bend from the waist. This isn't a hinge. You always want to bend from your hips. So that means bending your knees to bend your hips. And now you've got a nice flat back. And you can even put one elbow on a knee to help support you. So this does require some strong legs and a strong stomach to do this kind of posture. So you might build up to it. Another option is one knee on the ground or both knees on the ground to be able to do this motion. And there are great kneeling pads or even just cardboard or an old burlap sack or things like that that you can roll up to support your knees if you have any knee injuries or issues that you need to protect. So again, the main key here is making sure that you're changing your movements regularly to keep that level of awareness. Another thing to think about is to work smarter, not harder. And so whenever I'm using a wheelbarrow to do any work, I make sure that I always point my empty direction or my empty wheelbarrow in the direction I want to go after it's full. So let's say that I am moving some material out of this garden bed. Well, my compost is over that way. So I would make sure that after I get here, I don't just park it, but before I fill it, while it's empty, I go ahead and put it in the direction I'm going to go after it's full. The other thing to think about is when you're filling a wheelbarrow, putting it so that your body is at a 90-degree angle to the work you're going to be doing. So let's say for some reason, I was moving material, like maybe there was a pile of wood chips here or a pile of soil that I needed to move somewhere else. This is perfect because I'm going to have my body just at a 90-degree angle to the wheelbarrow, because I want to make sure that I'm not shoveling from here all the way over to here, because that twisting motion is going to cause potentially a lower back injury, and it's also just so much more work than I need to do. So if I'm working out of this bed, I would put the wheelbarrow right here, so that I'm only doing like about a 90-degree or 45-degree movement to fill up the wheelbarrow. Same thing emptying the wheelbarrow. Make sure that you're placing it so that you're not having to move your body or your tool more than about a 90-degree arc, or preferably about a 45-degree arc. And that about covers some body mechanics in the garden.